Today, I'd like to talk about our emotions and our relationship with them, because this is something really important, and I think we could use a bit of guidance in this area. Hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have a much healthier idea of how to respond to these unwanted emotions. Breathing in, I'm aware of the painful feeling in me. Breathing out, I'm aware of the painful feeling in me. This is an art. We have to learn it because most of us don't like to be with our pain. We're afraid of being overwhelmed by the pain, so we always seek to run away from it. There's loneliness, fear, anger, and despair in us. Mostly, we try to cover it up by consuming. There are those of us who go and look for something to eat. Others turn on the television. In fact, many people do both at the same time. And even if the TV program isn't interesting at all, we don't have the courage to turn it off. Because if we turn it off, we have to go back to ourselves and encounter the pain inside. The marketplace provides us with many items to help us in our effort to avoid the suffering inside. An emotion is only an emotion. It's just a small part of your whole being. An emotion comes, stays for a while, and goes away, just like a storm. If you're aware of that, you won't be afraid of your emotions. Why do we have such an unhealthy relationship with our emotions? Why are we always avoiding them? Because we don't want to suffer. And we have this sort of instinctive reaction, don't we? Oh, here's an uncomfortable feeling. I don't like this. And we turn away from it, right? We turn away from the suffering. What we don't realize, though, is that in this turning away, we're actually creating more suffering. Some of us have been suppressing emotions for decades. And where has that got us? But then, our dear brother says something so helpful. I think we should memorize these words right now. An emotion is only an emotion. It's just a small part of your whole being. You are much more than your emotion. Much more. An emotion is only an emotion. It's just a small part of my whole being. I mean, even if you just say those words, it changes the energy of what's going on, doesn't it? You're saying, okay, this is happening and it's okay. You're not resisting it. Anytime you let go of any resistance in your being, you can experience incredible healing and rejuvenation, you know. It sort of releases a block within you, and this vital life force is allowed to flow again. This is what we want, because all this suppressing and avoiding is actually energetically exhausting and more detrimental than we realize. Let's come back to the quote. An emotion is only an emotion. It's just a small part of my whole being. What's the last bit? I am much more than my emotion. You and I are much more than our emotions.
But we forget this. So by remembering these words, we can remind ourselves that it might feel like the emotion is taking over your entire being and there is nothing else except this uncomfortable emotion. But actually, you and I are much more than our emotions. The emotion is just a small part of our whole being. It's just traveling through in this moment. It's not going to stay forever. An emotion is only an emotion. Let's calm down and realize this.
Begin by understanding your inner energies. If you look inside, you'll see that when you're happy, your heart feels open and the energy rushes up inside of you. When you aren't happy, your heart feels closed and no energy comes up inside. So to stay happy, just don't close your heart. There's no rule that says you have to close. Just tell yourself that no matter what happens, you're not going to close. You really do have that choice. When you start to close, just question if you're really willing to give up your happiness. You should examine what's inside of you that believes there's some benefit to closing. The slightest thing happens to you and you give away your happiness. You were having a great day until someone cut you off on your way to work. It got you really upset and you stayed that way the rest of the day. Why? Dare to ask yourself that question. What good came from letting it ruin your day? There was no benefit. If somebody cuts you off, let go and stay open. If you really want to, you can. If you remain open enough, waves of uplifting energy will lift your heart. Spiritual practices are not an end to themselves. They bear fruit when you become deep enough to remain open. If you learn to stay open at all times, great things will happen to you. You simply have to learn not to close.
And now we come to some wonderful quotes by Michael Singer from The Untethered Soul. I love this book. Please, if you haven't read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, get that book. It has been life-changing. So let's pay attention to what's going on with our heart. He says, when you feel happy, your heart is open and there's an energy that rushes up inside of you. And when you don't feel happy, your heart is closed and there's no energy. So he says, the way to remain happy is not to close your heart. Now, I always thought that we had to open our heart. The default is a closed heart and we need to open our heart. Just as I used to think that the default was living in my mind and I had to try to become present. But these days, I know that presence is my natural state, but I think my way out of it. And by the same token, our heart is naturally open. Its natural state is to be open, allowing the energy to pass through it. But what we do is we close it. We allow something to bother us. He gives the example of a person cutting you off in traffic. I think we can come up with a few examples of our own. What do you reckon? Something was supposed to happen and it didn't happen. Heart closing. I didn't like what that person said to me just now. heart closing. I'm not happy with the way things are. I want them to be different. Heart closing. It's happening all the time. Michael says that every time we close our heart, we're throwing away our happiness. Why didn't anyone tell me this until I was in my 50s? Every time we close our heart, we throw away happiness. Happiness is here, but we interfere with it. We block it by believing our stressful thoughts, by complaining about what's happening, by continuously closing our heart. Now that we know this, we have a choice. We can decide not to close our heart. This is why these words of wisdom are so incredibly empowering, because they open our spiritual eyes. They give us insights. You really have to trust the wisdom within you. I trust the wisdom within you. And what you can trust is that with this information, with this deeper seeing and intuitive knowing, you'll catch yourself. And you won't keep going through life closing your heart and blocking your emotions and suppressing them. You won't. You won't. When you see what you're doing to yourself, everything changes. Here we are, thinking that we've been avoiding suffering, but actually, we've been creating it. Innocently, unconsciously, because we didn't know any better. But now we do. Yes. The world is waking up. The world is waking up, and you and I can be a beautiful part of that.
If you run from disappointment, you run from life itself. Disappointment can soften the mind and open the heart if you let it. Don't be afraid. When our hopes, dreams, and expectations shatter, it can hurt like hell. When life doesn't turn out the way we'd hoped, disappointment can burn hot inside. The invitation: turn towards the burning place. Actually feel the pain instead of numbing it or running towards some new dream. It's more painful to run away in the end. The pain of self-abandonment is the worst pain of all. Bring curious attention to that which you call disappointment. Contact the fluttery sensations in the belly, the constricted feeling in the heart area, the lump in the throat, the fogginess in the head. Stay present with what's alive. Be with what's screaming for attention. Don't refuse the now. Turn towards this burning moment. This is true meditation. Breathe into the uncomfortable place. Don't abandon yourself now for a new imagined future. Don't leave yourself for the world of thought. Find your home in what is. Let the mind chatter away today, but don't take it as reality. Disappointment is bringing you closer to yourself, to your breath, to the sense of being alive. You've been lost in your head, friend. Return to your heart now. Soften into the moment. Weep out the old dreams. Return home. This moment is as it is. Let all expectations melt into silence, into a new beginning. Disappointment is the gateway.
We don't want to suppress what's going on inside us. We want to work with these inner energies and allow them to flow freely through us. These emotions are energy in motion. They want to flow through you. They don't want to get stuck in you. So keep your heart open and let them flow through you. Jeff tells us that disappointment can be a gateway, an entryway, a portal. It can open your heart and mind. Disappointment actually might not be as negative as we think it is. When life doesn't go according to plan, when things don't turn out the way you want them to, anyone experience that? As a coach, one of the things I call people out on the most is their shoulds and shouldn'ts. Catch yourself. Every time there's a should or shouldn't in your thinking and your speaking, shoulds and shouldn'ts belong in the realm of resistance. Remember that. Shoulds and shouldn'ts belong in the realm of resistance. And guess what you're doing when you're resisting? That's right. Closing your heart and arguing with life. And guess who's going to win? Jeff says, don't be afraid. Don't run away. It's more painful to run away. He says the pain of self-abandonment is the worst pain of all. The pain of self-abandonment. Did you ever consider that? He says, bring curious attention. Isn't this better than avoiding and suppressing? Isn't this better than denying and resenting? Bring curious attention. We want to just be still with these energies. Sit with your emotions for a few moments. Bring curious attention. Oh, what's going on in me here? Oh, isn't that interesting? I'm feeling upset about this. We don't have to go into the whole story of why. Just acknowledge the feelings. Acknowledge the energy passing through you. Sit with it. Realize it's a natural part of being human. You don't have to like it, but you don't have to be afraid of it. If you can just be okay with sitting with it, just for a little while, you'll see that very soon it will simply pass through you. So, while you're paying curious attention, notice where you're feeling the emotion in your body. Is it in your chest, in your throat, in your stomach? Is there a tightness? Do you feel constricted? It says, stay present with what's alive. Isn't that beautiful? Stay present with what's alive. It's alive because it's happening, right? As opposed to the world of your mind. He says, be with what's screaming for attention. Don't refuse the now. You're becoming present with this emotion, this energy within you. And it's in this place of presence that you can hold it in the vastness of your loving being, that it can be allowed to exist. Now here's another one to memorize. Jeff says, let the mind chatter away today, but don't take it as reality. Let's turn this into an affirmation, shall we? I let the mind chatter away, but I don't take it as reality. Don't take it as reality. The mind will chatter away about what's going on with these emotions, right? It's going to bring up the story of your life and what's happened to you and how you've been terribly wronged and things shouldn't have happened. It's also going to bring up what might happen. In other words, all the things that could possibly go wrong. Wrong being not according to your plan. So this is what it does. This is what the mind does. No need to get upset about it. He says, don't abandon yourself for an imagined future. Don't we do this all the time? I spent my life doing this. I'm a pro at doing this, let me tell you. I would just live in the future, project into the future all the time. It was always a better future me. That was always the goal. Don't abandon yourself for an imagined future. Don't abandon yourself for a better version of you that you want. The more peaceful, joyful, spiritual version of you. Don't abandon yourself for that. That's an idea, an imagination. Don't leave yourself for the world of thought. Stay here. Stay in the now. Stay in this moment. Remain here. This is where you belong. This is where you are. This is where life is really happening. This is where reality is. Be here. Be here with whatever you're experiencing in this moment. Make peace with that. Become familiar with this place of presence and present awareness. You've been lost in your head, friend. Return to your heart. This is the journey of our life, isn't it? As Muji says, the only journey there is from mind to heart. This is what we want to spend the rest of our lives doing, returning to our heart. And if you're judging yourself because you feel that you spend too much time in your thoughts or you're not aware enough, please don't carry on doing that, because you're getting caught up in how you believe things should be, rather than embracing how they are. So, disappointment and all these uncomfortable feelings can be this remarkable gateway into presence. And in this presence, you reconnect with yourself and the truth of who you are. So this is your homework for today. Notice the energy of your heart. Notice the open energy of feeling happy and the closed energy of feeling bothered. See if you can notice something today that causes you to give away your happiness. And then sit with how you're feeling and realize it's actually okay. I can be here with myself as I feel now without having to freak out. We don't need to freak out. In this being with yourself, you'll naturally find your way back to this moment, back to yourself, back to the truth of life. That's how to deal with your emotions. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who watch these videos, and an especially big thank you to those of you who leave me comments. I love reading them and responding to them. And I also greatly appreciate any suggestions you may have for future videos, because I like to create content that you find helpful and interesting. And remember to keep your heart open. Oh, there's a fox! Being chased by a magpie!